Please be advised that everything in my video is purely for entertainment purposes. These are purely my thoughts and opinions and are subjective. I must advise you to please do your own research. All media users found on the public domain and are fair use and fair dealings.
Hi everyone, I hope you had a happy new year. We're off to a bit of a stressful start, as most of you saw from yesterday. My laptop has died. It's very sad actually. I have got my wedding photographs on there. I have got a friend that is able to pull all of that information off though. I was, believe it or not, it's my 3rd wedding anniversary this year. And I've never printed off my wedding pictures. I'm actually editing them myself because I had a fallout with the photographer. A long story, but yeah, I've never printed them out, so it was a real kind of obviously, and then not being able to edit the software and being able to upload to you guys as well. But I now have a brand spanking new desktop. So I'd like to give a shout out to one of my friends, Sue Smith, who has her own YouTube channel now. She does a lot of stuff on Harry and Meghan. She does shorter videos, but they're a lot more frequent than that. So if you enjoy the content that I do, please feel free to type in Sue Smith and you will, find her new YouTube channel. So as most of you know, I was very ill over Christmas. In fact, I only got to see my mother and my mother-in-law on New Year's Eve. I finally felt well enough after having isolated for 10 days. And my cough had pretty much gone away. To say this Christmas sucked was a complete understatement. But it is that time of year where we all make those New Year's resolutions. Now, I know some people are actually really against New Year's resolutions, but I have made a few of my own, and it's mainly regarding, one, my health. I have put on weight. I feel like an overstuffed sausage at the moment. It's not just been over Christmas, it has been gradually going on over the year. I'm not fishing for compliments at all, but it's just a case of looking after yourself and being conscious. My clothes are not fitting me that well anymore, so I am making a few changes, shall we say, but I'm not going to share those changes with you until I see a difference. Or you might see a difference, who knows. So obviously the gyms have shut as well, which is very frustrating for anyone that just enjoys going for workouts for your mental health or for trying to lose weight. So my husband and I spent about £200. We've got some interchangeable dumbbells and we've got a weight bench. So the spare room is now a semi-office with a gym. My other resolutions revolve around this channel, and it will be, I know there's been lots of instances where I promise to give you content and stuff goes wrong. I have a very, believe it or not, my life can sometimes be pretty hectic. So I've decided that I'm no longer going to promise you when I'm going to give you videos, but I will promise that you will get 2 videos a week. But it could come 10 AM on a Tuesday and it could come at 10 PM on a Friday, but you will get 2 videos minimum per week, definitely. I've set myself more of a routine. I also am going to spend more time on the videos. Obviously, Harry and Meghan are a massive subject point for most of you, but I really do enjoy speaking about the other royals. I'm definitely going to start my videos off with more to do with the good stuff, what the real royals are doing before we get onto the ex-royals, because people do associate Harry and Meghan with how our royal family behaves, and unfortunately that's not going to go away. So I figure if I start showing more of the positives and the good things that our royal family do, then hopefully it can help, sway it back the other way, that Harry and Meghan are now ex-royals. They might still have titles, but they are no longer part of the royal family. So I'm going to clear a bit of a backlog because it has been a while since I've done a video. First up, we had a big old hoo-ha about the Cambridges attending the Luminate lighting event that they hold at Windsor Park. They were photographed walking around this huge lighting outdoor event with Sophie and Edward and their children. Now, I know that people saying, oh, they should, this is really wrong, they should be shamed for it. And loads of people attacked them. But at the end of the day, they were at an outdoor event where multiple people were at. They did not arrive together. They did not leave together. They did not hug each other. They did what everyone else was doing at that same Luminate event. You can't tell me if they were strangers walking in front of Catherine and William in this shot, that people, would that have been okay because they weren't blood related? That's where, to me, it doesn't make sense. There's obviously people behind them taking the photographs on their iPhones. It's a walk around that the public can do every year, and they made it bug safe. So it was just a massive let's beat the Cambridges with a big stick. And then ironically a week later we found out that we had several of our own MPs that were having Christmas parties, our Sky News readers that are always bashing people for not following the rules, having birthday parties, pop stars, superstars, celebrity stars all going about their trips around the Maldives or hiring private islands. Oh, how the rich live. But they don't seem to have to follow under the same rules as the rest of us. And then my favourite bit, which one of the people who had the biggest stick was Nicola Sturgeon, who is the First Minister of Scotland, basically their Prime Minister, and she really went to town on the Cambridges. A few days later, she was caught in a pub not wearing a mask. In breaking news, Charles and Camilla have decided to abdicate the throne. They have actually now decided that they are going to become shepherds. No, obviously I'm kidding, but they look like a couple of shepherds in this picture. They actually do really cute older people sort of, I say that older people, sorry mum, but you know, the affectionate photographs of them side by side. I do really like this couple. You can tell they're very in tune with each other. So speaking of royal couples, we have Eugenie and Jack, and there was the mystery surrounding them moving into Frogmore and them moving out. There's been lots of speculation that Harry's divorcing Meghan and he's coming back, that there was a blind gossip that apparently the £10,000 a month that Harry and Meghan were intending to charge their new tenants, the house doesn't belong to them, it's Crown property, was vetoed by senior royals because once they found out about it, they said no. Now, I personally think it's got more to do with the fact that they're expecting their first child and perhaps they decided to have renovations done in their home to make way for the baby. Now, would you want to live in a house when you don't have to, when you can go stay in another gorgeous royal property for a few weeks or whatever whilst you've got builders in and out your home? So that's what I think that was about, because I just can't believe all the other drama. We got to see William and Catherine go to a pantomime with their children. We got to see, obviously, again, the Cambridge children. Charlotte is quite the little sassy pants, refusing to hold her daddy's hand. And George is obviously he's getting very tall now. He's beginning to look almost identical to Michael Middleton now, just a shorter, younger version of him. And then we had boss baby Louis, who everyone absolutely adores, who we can really tell is going to grow up and be a true heartbreaker. So let's get on to the ex-royals. The ex-royals of Montecito. It sounds like a really tacky TV show. It pretty much is. So Meghan has reportedly won her huge court case. I think that actually Archie was in Archie's name, of his privacy being invaded in that pap stroll that she did in Canada. They made it out, like her PR spun it, that she won it, but in truth, that arm of Splash Media, which is the UK, was actually in administration. So what it is, from my rough understanding, when a company goes into administration, you have solicitors or lawyers dealing with just signing off any outstanding issues. And the fact that they haven't given Meghan a payout makes me think that it was just a case of, okay, we promise that we'll never take pictures of you ever again. But it's been plugged that she won it. Okay, yeah, sure you did. Okay, yeah, the company's into administration. And let's be honest, there's no way on this God's earth that anyone could ever think that she wasn't aware of those photographs being taken, and that's Archie really hanging out of that baby sling, because that to me is a crash test dummy. That's not me saying that Archie is a crash test dummy, because I believe he is a real child, but that is definitely not a real child in that sling, in my opinion. Well, for the couple that clearly love to sue, let's get on to another grievance. The Mail on Sunday have done a semi-apology, but pretty much a correction of the article that they released, which was the huge one about Harry has not been in touch with the Marines and told them what he is up to or what he's going to do. The fact that we heard from several, it was Major Julian Thompson, Lord Danat, and they said that they'd not heard from him. It's clearly that the top brass are not quite aware of what Harry's true intentions were. But Harry had kicked off and said that he had in fact been in touch. Well, he hadn't said that, but his lawyers had said that. But it's clearly obvious that they don't seem to be fully aware of his intentions. And the Marines have actually been vocal about the fact that they would like William to take over the position. So I think that Harry is no longer particularly wanted by them anyway. But even with this rewrite that was issued by the Mail on Sunday, Harry is not content with it, and he is still pursuing legal action. Sue everyone. Funny enough that Harry's only really started doing this since he met Meghan. Now, after the hoo-ha, which was their Christmas card of them praising themselves that they've given lots of donations to people, because that's what you do when you're a charitable person. You know, I give money to charity all the time. Oh, let me do a YouTube video about it. I've done YouTube videos where I'm trying to raise money for charities, but I don't show pictures of me going, look what I have done, aren't I fabulous? No, because, you know, people just don't do that. I'm sure I've ranted about it before, but it's like people that go help out in a soup kitchen but take lots of selfies of them doing it and posting it on Facebook or social media. Aren't I so kind? Because then they get everyone going, oh, aren't you so sweet giving up your time to do that? Yes, I am. And this is very much how Meghan and Harry seem to be behaving. It is definitely in bad taste. Now, obviously from that Christmas card, people had said the bad taste was the fact that they're talking about giving to charities, posing in front of a $7,000 playhouse for their child. And it seemed really out of touch, to say the least. But I think it was Hello magazine. It was definitely one of those sort of media ones that I first read it in, that it actually came with the house listing. So I think that Meghan and Harry's PR team have put that out there to go, oh, actually, the optics don't look great on this one. We better put this out there. Okay, fair enough. It does seem that it did come with the house, but it's still that whole thing, it's still in poor taste. They're not really recognising what the rest of the world is going through at the moment. I mean, when you think about Camilla and Charles, they're sitting on a nice bench. When you think about Catherine and William, they've got the, you know, that real rustic look to their Christmas cards. Harry and Meghan always seems to be, their cards are always about wealth and fireworks, and it's just very new money, which isn't Harry, but it's very Meghan. We were also treated to random pap shots. I mean, how does the paparazzi know exactly where they are to get those full frontal pictures and making sure that they get the good face shots to know it's definitely them, of Harry and Meghan walking around Beverly Hills. For a start, it was quite easy to spot Meghan because despite the weather being in the 70s, she was dressed like she was walking around Aspen Ski Resort. She had the beanie hat on, she had that huge parka jacket on, the knee-high boots, wrapped up big baggy top again. It wouldn't have looked so obvious if Harry, in contrast, wasn't dressed like he was just going for a light autumn stroll. So, was Meghan dressed like that purely to draw more attention to the, is she pregnant? Could she be pregnant? Or was it just a simple fact that she is just too famous? You know, these famous people that dress up so much to make themselves look inconspicuous, but actually you're just drawing attention to yourself. You know, the sunglasses, the hat, everything. So I'll leave that one to you. What do you guys think? Do you think she's trying to get that pregnancy speculation back up? Or is she, I want to be alone, but take my picture? Dickie Arbiter, the Queen's former press secretary, has also been vocal about the fact that he finds it really odd that a couple that wanted and bleated on about privacy are continuously drip feeding stuff to the media. And I mean continuously. I mean, ever since Meghan joined the royal family, our royal family have become like a reality TV show one way or another, from all of the gossip, all of the rumours, and it's real D-list kind of stories that come out. William's having an affair, Catherine's been mean. It's all like Kardashian style stuff, and I wonder who's been supplying that little tidbit of information. It's all been a bit low class, hasn't it, really? And now that they're leaving, we're beginning to see really good stories coming out about our royal family, and no one's really taking the bait anymore because no one really cares. All I say to that, it's nice to have Dickie on board. He is one of many that are beginning to change their minds on the full intentions of what Harry and Meghan are up to. Now, I could have hit this nail on the head a long time ago, and it is for the pure, simple fact of cold, hard cash. They never wanted privacy. It was always been about control. They want just the positives and none of the negatives. They want to reinvent themselves as these kind and compassionate people. You know, Meghan talking recently, how can we activate compassion? You don't need to activate compassion, Meghan. You have it. Normal people have it. Normal people are kind and considerate and forgiving of their family. Normal people don't trash their grandparents. They don't have to try. So this says everything about them, talking about how we can activate kindness. You don't need to activate it. It's either there or it's not. And in this instant, it's definitely not. The long short of it is, you can pretend to be something you're not. Just ask Hilaria Baldwin. But one way or another, that mask will fall, it will slip, and your true self will absolutely be shown. And this is what most people have woken up to with this couple. It is sad. It is sad to see someone that the country once loved so much turn into this money making, I don't care, that I'm treading on the memories of my mother, I'm using my son to make money, I'm using my mum to make money. This is not the Harry that we were led to believe that we knew Harry, but maybe we never really knew the true Harry. So speaking of which, I'd like to draw your attention to this story. Prince Harry quit the royal family to protect Archie from what he suffered as a child. Now, this is definitely a narrative that these two plug. Harry and Meghan had one of the worst childhoods in history, didn't they? Absolutely devastating to read about, the traumas and the cruelty that these two suffered at the hands of their families and parents. It's enough to make you really, really weep for them. Harry said that if he'd stayed in the royal family, Archie's life will always be vulnerable to traumatising experiences. "I'll protect him with my life," said Harry. Meghan and Harry are determined to keep Archie out of the spotlight. These are all phrases, these are all reports, these are all news stories that we have read, including a lot of statements that came directly from the horse's mouth, their PR teams. Fast forward to 2020, now going into 2021, you couldn't have a more different attitude, could you? "We will not share his due date. We will not share you where he was born. We will not tell you who his godparents are going to be. But we will name all of our future companies and business ventures and foundations after him. We will never reveal him to the public because we want him to have a private life, unless we're filming a documentary about how we're victims in South Africa and Archie meets Desmond Tutu. We will do a runner to Canada to escape with Archie, to protect him. Except for weird pap shop strolls, releasing stories to the media, using friends and our PR company to release fake stories, how we're strolling around and hiking in Canada to keep attention up of we're secretly there. Also releasing a picture of Harry, the one picture we've really seen of Harry holding Archie, with the backdrop of the huge lake house that they're renting from someone. We will take him to LA so he can grow up away from the fishbowl that is the royal family and lead a normal life as a private citizen, unless I have Oprah's books to plug, where then I will sit Archie on my knee pretending to be that casual mummy reading to my child at home with him in a dirty nappy, looking like we actually belong in a trailer park. Harry is fiercely determined to protect his son from the glare of public opinion and scrutiny, whilst featuring him on their multi-million-pound first ever episode of their Spotify podcast. And no doubt future videos, home videos if you remember, that will be aired on Netflix. Thus ensuring that Archie will be on every news channel, every newspaper, every media outlet that there is. Because who knew that a baby's giggle would sell so well? So just a quick reminder here, on the 23rd of October 2018, 8 whole days after Meghan announced her pregnancy, Meghan and her business manager, who she kept secret, bought the websites archfoundation.com and archfoundation.org. Now, what are the chances that a woman who's just announced that she's pregnant, 8 days after she's pregnant, so we all know that Meghan must have only been, 8 weeks, 10 weeks pregnant at the time, given roughly Archie's birth date. Do you know many parents that would know, one, I know you can get tests now to see if you're having a boy or a girl, but would you know that you're definitely going to name your child Archie or Arch? Would you know that literally from that stage? I have had friends that have not named their baby even at 8 weeks because they just want to see what his personality or her personality is like. I have known friends to argue and you actually think that they're going to separate before the baby's born over baby names, but no, they were going to have Arch or Archie as it now became, but they decided this so early on. So did Meghan always plan this? Arch was always a backup because it's very odd that you'd buy arch.com. You know, you want to keep your baby private, that you're going to have a website named after him. Was this always a backup because they knew Megxit was going to happen? They knew Megxit. They planned Megxit before the wedding. So what they knew, the Sussex Royal would potentially be stripped. So this was always the little backup. It certainly does raise a lot of eyebrows for a couple that wanted to protect their son, that they're now literally merchandising, commoditizing their son to sell their products. Maybe on Archie's next birthday, we'll have a picture of him drinking that vegan latte that Meghan's now invested in. So as for the podcast, I didn't listen to it. I can't listen to their voices. I listened to a tiny minute clip, which was just purely the bit of Archie laughing. It doesn't sound natural to me. The fact that Archie says Happy New Year without being prompted makes me think, because they were going, Happy No, and he just says yeah, which means it must have been several takes, which to me just seems wrong. You're now encouraging, it's not natural, it's not organic. He didn't just say it cutesy because he walked in the room. No, they're encouraging him, feeding him lines to say. Well, I suppose she feeds lines to Harry all the time, so what's the baby? So I read the transcript, and one of the things that has definitely been brought to light is the simple fact that Meghan and Harry did this spill before. Do you remember when the podcast was going to be announced? Their podcast would include touching stories from ordinary people that would lift and inspire. So did we have teachers, nurses, doctors, charity workers, volunteers, lollipop ladies, cleaners, everyday inspiring people that work really, really hard, especially through this worldwide bug that's happened? No, instead we hear from Elton John, James Corden, Tyler Perry and multiple other sports stars and famous people about, how they've coped in 2020. Now, whilst Tyler Perry, for example, does do a lot for charity and doesn't seem to self-promote, this kind of whole podcast is in complete contrast with talking to ordinary people. I don't care how multimillionaires are coping. I don't care how people with swimming pools, several summer homes that are jet-setting country to country, hiring out private islands, jumping on jets whenever they want, not caring about any of the rules that the rest of us have to live by, throwing parties, seeing their families and friends without a care in the world. I don't care about them, and nor do most people. And this is probably why the podcast wasn't exactly well received. It was just further proof that they have both lost touch of reality, but then I really think neither of them really had reality in the first instance, hence everything that has happened in the short time that Meghan met Harry. They finish off naturally with a sickly message of love wins. Love always wins. Firstly, I'd just like to say that this is actually a tagline from The Crown, and it's actually been said for years, hasn't it? The Crown must win, the Crown always wins. It's quite clearly a little dig, isn't it? A little swipe, because they're very good at doing these digs and swipes. You've got to admire their confidence, really, that they can be this smug. They keep slapping the hand that feeds them. But given that their podcast, their first ever podcast, ranked in so low on the Spotify charts that it came below a podcast of whale sleep music, I wouldn't count their chickens just yet. Secondly, the other thing that did annoy me about their podcast was Harry has now ruined the opening to my videos. You know, I go, hi guys. Yeah. That's what they did. They did it. They went, hi guys. I can't say it anymore now. They ruined it for me. Absolutely ruined it. So now I've got to find a new opening to my videos. So feel free to, give your suggestions. I will be back with you soon. See, that's how we're going to end the videos. I will be back with you very soon. Take care for now, guys. Happy New Year. Bye.
If you like my video, please remember to like and subscribe. Please, angry typists, you will be blocked, so save your fingers the time. If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link. Love, Taz.